Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Tuesday Night Thunder live from the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway. Appreciate everybody tuning in. You're watching Austin Green, and of course, as always, co-host Dawson Wise here for Tuesday. Dawson, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, ready to cut the playoff field down and get to it here tonight on some Tuesday Night Thunder.
Certainly are. Let's get tonight started with your race info. Again, back at Daytona International Speedway. Weather outside, 73 degrees, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds at 2 miles an hour. It's race 2 of the round of 16, and you know what that means, elimination race. 8 of these drivers will be going home after tonight, and their run at a championship will be over. Again, we're in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for 60 laps here tonight. Everybody going to have 40% fuel with unlimited tires, one fast spare in your pocket if you need it. Fixed setups, and as always, a stage break that will award points on lap 20. Track temp starting going to be 73 degrees. Track length here at Daytona, 2.5 miles. Taking a look at your starting grid, rolling off on the pole tonight, it is going to be Garrett Maines with a 50.359, absolutely flying. Andrew Navarro will roll off second to his outside. Matthew Baker and Michael Triscaro making up row number 2. It'll be Kevin Fries in 5th with Jason Maines 6th. David Sheets in 7th, Jeff Merck 8th, Ken McCall Jr. in 9th, and Cody Nagels rounding out your top 10.
Daniel Eberhardt will roll from the inside of row number 6 to his outside will be the 55 of Mike Davenport. Chris McCullough will roll from 13th with Logan York in the 14th position. Row 8 will be Josh Giambroni and Jaron Mogard. Row number 9 will be John Ward, the 92, and Dylan Jones in the 11. Round at the top 20 will be George Bark and Brock Westmoreland, and I'll go ahead and do the last 2 cars. That'll be Tony Cox and Mark Vondell.
So maybe just a little bit of a smaller field than what we're used to seeing, but still a good crowd. And, of course, you know that 16 of the guys that were in here are the guys that are in the round of 16. And we saw a good one last week, Dawson. It set up some interesting point scenarios. We'll talk more about that once this race gets rolling. But no surprise here to see your 2 front runners, of course, rolling off from the front row, Maines and Navarro. It's been them all season. It's been them from the start of the postseason. And I think we're going to be seeing these 2 in the round of 8.
Absolutely, I would agree. I think they're pretty well locked in. They're way above the cut line tonight, especially Andrew Navarro, so no surprise to see them back up front again, and they're going to be back contending for another win.
All right, here we go. Last time at Daytona for the season. Pace car is going to pull off Garrett Maines into the Geico restart zone for the first time here tonight. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in race 2 of the round of 16.
Matthew Baker leads lap 1 to the help of Andrew Navarro. You saw him jump out to the outside onto the backstretch for the first time, and he will lead the opening lap of tonight's race. Another man who's in a pretty good points position. Now, granted, not as good as Navarro or Maines up at the top of the points standings. He's about 9 points above the cut line coming into tonight's race, so he needs some points. He needs to run well. You can tell the urgency is there for several of our playoff drivers. You see Michael Triscaro, Jeff Merck, Jason Maines also working their way forward as well, trying to make up positions early on. And the points, they're about as tight as they can get. You can already tell some of those guys right around the cut line starting to come forward. Maines back to the lead with the help of Kevin Fries off turn number 4.
Wow, Baker got really loose off before he's able to hold on. How about Logan York already looking 3 wide? He jumps to the outside of Mike Davenport, looking for some help, maybe wondering if Cody would be his dance partner, but nothing working right now. The 0-2 is going to quickly fall back. Actually, that's Dylan Jones who jumps the line behind him now. These 2 have a little beef, so Dylan Jones maybe going to rough him up here just a little bit, say, hey, don't forget about me, but how about coming on the outside? I believe, is that Alex Hill rocking a new scheme here tonight as well? Can't tell exactly who it is in the Lightning McQueen machine. But Dawson, the guy we should really keep an eye on tonight is Daniel Eberhardt. I didn't think we'd be saying this in round 16, but right now he is just about on the outside. Well, he's way on the outside looking in, but he is in last place for the round of 16 drivers. I think he's probably going to need a win here tonight, but you can never count out D3. And if he gets the win, he automatically advances to the next round.
Yeah, and he's going to basically need stage points, I think, to even have a chance at pointing his way in. So I think you're right. I think a win is the easiest and most likely the only way. If we get to the end of the stage here and he gets no points, it's going to be the only way he can get in. Third line working. Cody Nagels decides, yes, I will go up there. Logan York goes with him. Dylan Jones along there. That unlikely alliance already starting early here between York and Jones, but nonetheless, those three cars, they are working their way towards the front and doing so quickly. Nagels may poke the nose out in front here into turn number 3.
Well, unlikely alliance and unlikely favored lane here tonight. That's what you would think with that cool track tempo. Logan York doing all sorts of pushing, slam drafting Cody Nagels. Cody, no teammates here tonight, so he's working with whoever he can, making friends early, and it looks like it's going to pay off. He pokes out to the lead as they get into the trial, but it's not enough to get clear. He'll stall out, and now Logan York going to have to breathe a little bit in that outside line.
Yeah, the temps are not going to be there anymore for Logan York. He'll have to back off. They'll have to reform this run just a little bit. We'll see if they can do it onto the super stretch. Once again, when we get over here, Matthew Baker drops down in front of Garrett Maines, solidifies his lead now. And you can see that third lane going backwards in a big-time hurry. Right as Davenport and Westmoreland get into that outside line, it is fading here in a very quick hurry. Middle line actually starting to fade a little bit. Now they start to come back forward. Triscaro, nice push to the back of Navarro. Jeff Merck up in front of Cody Nagels. Third line working once again. The middle line, all of a sudden, an absence of cars. Navarro, Triscaro going backwards off of 4.
And those might be 2 ex-teammates, but you know they got a lot of chemistry together. Jeff Merck, Cody Nagels going to try to make it work, and as Baker drops low, that'll stall the middle line out. Only 2 cars right now. Navarro and Triscaro still waiting for some help from Dylan Jones. This will be Merck's chance. Down into 1, nothing doing. They will stay 3 by 3. And with Baker on the low side, he is trapped. Garrett Mates, Kevin Freeze, who Garrett gets onto the apron just a little bit. He quickly is able to save it, but man, I cannot get over all the pushing. This almost looks more aggressive than what we see in the truck series, and we heard a lot of excitement about this package last week, and it is showing early on here tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is. These guys love this setup. They love, contact between Triscaro and Nagels. They are able to keep it going. These guys love the setup and love the way these cars handle now under the new updates. So no surprise, they're racing hard early and already 3 wide, 4 rows deep through the field. Navarro fades one more time here off of 4. Triscaro, he is boiling underneath that 34. He needs some help on temperatures. Middle line's going to stall. Does Jeff Merck get clear in the middle? It's awfully close into 1. Not quite. He's going to have to stay up. Still 3 wide for the lead.
Yeah, 3 wide for the lead, a little bit further back. The 49 I thought was Alex Hill earlier. We used to see him in the Lightning McQueen machine, but that's actually one of our new drivers in the field tonight, Josh Giambrone. Looking for a good run here. Again, not a playoff driver making his first appearance, but hey, could score himself some big money if he's able to finish in the top 4. Meanwhile, back up front, the race for the lead is still on. Now it's Navarro who's going to get clear the inside. He'll drop down just as Baker did about a handful of laps ago. Michael Triscaro finally going to get a chance to cool off the 34 Chevy Camaro for the first time tonight. Not for long, man. Garrett Maines tried to make the move up, couldn't do it. Pit stops further back. It's going to be McCall Motorsports, the first group to come in.
Oh, interesting strategy here on lap number 8 of 20 of the stage. Oh boy, Baker up in front of Triscaro. That line wobbles a bit, but they make it work. Very interesting strategy. An early pit stop here on lap number 8. We'll see if anybody responds to the call here on lap 8 and comes down. I don't think so. The way they're racing right now tells me they're not going to stop this anytime soon. Baker back to the lead halfway down the super stretch.
And I'll tell you what, Dawson, I think the reason we saw those pit stops, as we noted in the pre-race, 40% fuel tonight. We're used to seeing 50, and at 50, these guys could make the stage. Under green, that'd be right at 20 laps, 40%. You just can't do it. Maybe if you save a ton, you pull it out, but I just don't think that's going to be the call right here. But Baker and Navarro have been lead the most. Certainly, they can't make it the whole way, so we'll have to see them pit. And now, I agree, as you said, question is, what will be the strategy? Sometimes we see short pitting work out. Sometimes we see long pitting work out. It's just a matter of which group can run the faster laps. And right now, you got a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of big pushing, but no real big moves at the front. They've tamed back down to 2x2. Everybody just about linked up and keeping an eye on that pack out back as they continue to get up to speed. We'll see what kind of laps they can put together, as it looks like right now David Sheets leads Christopher McCall and Ken McCall Jr. Mark Vondell, not quite the stop he needed. He's going to lose touch with his teammates, and now he's going to hope he can stay on this lead lap until we reach that stage break in the first caution of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the strategy works as Daniel Eberhard up in front of Jeff Merck. Third line coming to the front one more time, and it's in the form of D3, and he's going to get there in a hurry here at the line, 3 wide for the lead one more time. But it'll be very interesting to see when these guys decide to pit, because for some of these guys down around the cut line, that could mean the difference between playoffs and no playoffs when we leave this race. So we'll have to see when they decide to pit, how they decide to risk it to try to get some stage points up front. Daniel Eberhard, for the first time, goes to the lead. No surprise, the 90. He is up on the wheel and working here early in the race, leading laps, trying to get bonus points, trying to get anything he can to get himself into the round of 8.
Yeah, up front and no surprise. Part of the thing he does that, man, it makes me love the way he does this so much in terms of he kind of has that classic super speedway style that we used to see. Don't see much in money racing, but he always makes it work, and that is staying at the back, staying conservative until it's the right time. He no longer really feels the need to just get and stay at the front from the get-go. He knows that there is 60 laps in this race. You can't win it on the first couple. He lets things settle down, finds the guys that he wants to work with, and when he gets up top, people have enough respect. They go with the 90. They know he's going to the front. It's exactly what he did now in front of Matthew Baker, getting a very, very good push. But up top, Jeff Merck, Cody Nagel's going to try to play spoiler. They've got some help from Michael Triscaro. And you see these guys are going to be coming up on the lapper of Mark Von Dellen. It's still a ways away, but part of me wonders, do they have enough speed in this lead draft to try to track down that second pack? Well, let's go back and find out, actually, before I say any more. The gap from Tony Cox, the back of that lead draft, all the way back to David Sheets, currently 34.3 seconds, and it has been extending. And so Dawson, as that stands right now, it's looking like that early pitting strategy may not have been the right call.
No, I don't think it was. They're losing too much time. Obviously, they don't really anticipate to lose that much time. It's just the way this front pack has been able to stay together. They just have not really been able to pull away from them in the way that they thought they were going to be able to. Now the front pack, once again, tames back down to 2x2, and now it's going to be even worse for that second group. They're all in line and all pushing, trying to go forward. Mark Von Dell going to have to commit to a lane here. Are they going to try to split him? I think they are.
Wow, that's not a move we see much. That's a really sketchy move, but Mark Von Dell, as long as he holds to the middle, everybody should be fine, and it looks like that is indeed the case. We're getting ready to take an onboard view with Matthew Baker, and boy, that might have been a good time for it, but here you go. One of our first drivers that we have. Oh, man, Jeff Merck slipped up way in the back. He was able to save it, almost got into the outside wall off of 4. But there's Matthew Baker running the number 5 machine here tonight, and I don't know if he's got any teammates either. We saw NBG kind of with the split up. I'm not sure if Merck is still on NBG or if he's running on PGR tonight, but he's certainly still looking for a good finish and to move on to the next round nonetheless. Talking about some of the other guys that we have in driver camps for us here tonight. Tony Cox, talked about in the back of this pack. He's got a beautiful looking paint scheme on the 72 machine. Ghost Racing Network Chevy Camaro, and again, not a playoff driver, but looking for a good run and still looking to see if he could cash in on some money. He'll make his way around Mark Von Dell. A couple more guys to take a look at carrying on boards for us here tonight. Jeff Merck, who we talked about, might be working with Matthew Baker. He is one of the playoff drivers looking to advance. Going to have his work cut out and still looking to snap that dry streak of nothing but bad luck. Maybe tonight's his night. And last but not least, Michael Triscaro, your NSRA Season 11 champion. He's on a roll and been on a tear lately, looking to carry that momentum here tonight. I think he's working with the guy behind him and in front of him, and Baker and Merck. We'll see what they do here on this first pit stop.
Well, a bit of an advantage, I'd say, for Michael Triscaro as well as Cody Nagels in the 6 for running that NSRA race on Sunday night, because we utilize these Xfinity Series race cars. They have probably the most recent experience in those cars of anybody in the field. So, you know, they got that almost as a tune-up race, if you will. And so coming into tonight, they're a few days ahead of when these guys last got in these cars last Tuesday night. Pit stops further back. Logan York, Giambroni, looks like Brock Westmoreland, and George Bark on pit road. I think we're getting ready to see the big cycle of pit stops here, 5 laps short of the stage.
Completely agree. And this looks like maybe a cycle of some of the independent running drivers there. Ooh, man, Logan York long. Oh, the 54 is going to get into the wall. He had to make a late entry so that he didn't make contact with Logan York and overshot. That'll be a little left front damage, but more importantly, cost him a ton of time as Brock Westmoreland rolls off. So does Logan York, along with George Bark, who's now finally got out of his stall. And then Josh Gambro and the last of those guys to pit, and he does a good job. So here we go. Keep an eye on your front runners. They're working their way out of turn number 4. Looking for pit stops right here. This would be the biggest group. Can they all get in clean? And do we see them this time? We're going to see a couple more, but still not the whole pack. They'll split it in half. This is going to bring down Cody Nagels, Jared Mogard, Mike Davenport, John Ward, and Tony Cox. Ward's going to make a move to the inside of Davenport. He'll pick up some spots. Another solid entry by that group, Dawson. That'll just leave probably about 10 cars left out.
Yeah, the line singles out as well. It's 9 cars left on the racetrack. We expect to see them here very shortly, I would imagine. They can't go much further than this with a 40% fuel tank, so you figure you'd see them this time, maybe next time, about 17, 18 laps, about going to be our max fuel range tonight. So we'll see what these guys are able to do on pit road. This is a very strong group getting ready to make pit stops, and they have singled out, so they're starting to pick up a little bit of time as well. And off of turn 4, let's see if they hit pit road this time. Looks like they will.
So here we go. Pit stops, the biggest group of them all. Can they all get in clean? It's the most aggressive ones. Jason getting in way too hot. He locks up. I don't think he got down to speed. Everyone else was able to get checked up, and they'll now work to get into their boxes. They go 3 wide. And look at back there, Dawson. We'll see how this race pans out, but McCall Motorsports, they were able to catch some of the groups that already pit, but this is going to be the telltale sign right here. Can they catch this group? Kevin Freeze, Jason Maines, they both overshoot their stalls just a little bit. And rolling out right off the get-go, Garrett Maines, Navarro drag race out. Navarro wins it. Maines second. Everhart and Jones going to jump ahead, though, and it's still a mad scramble. Everybody trying to get lined up, and they're going to come out plenty ahead here, but they've got to get up to speed. And unlike Talladega, it's a flat apron here. You got to be real careful. Everybody doing a good job so far. And it looks like just about everybody that pit in this group is going to skate. Oh, Triscaro. Contact with Jason Maines. Now he gets hit by Kevin Freeze. Big trouble back here for the 34, and that's going to cost him all sorts of time and give him some damage as well. What in the world happened right there with Michael Triscaro?
I'm not sure. I didn't catch it. I was trying to figure out where this second group is going to pan out in terms of the leaders. I'm not sure if they're going to catch this group with Everhart and Jones and Navarro, but I'm not sure what happened to the 34. What an odd look that was. I thought I saw him, and then all of a sudden he was gone. Not sure what happened there.
And that's what we're taking a look at now. I think this turns into a good old-fashioned I want the spot, no, I want the spot kind of deal here. As you see, Jason Maines on the inside. I got to feel like, in my opinion, Jason gets maybe a little bit more right to that spot, but it kind of depends on who comes out of the pits first. And, yeah, you do see Triscaro's further ahead, it looks like, when they come out of the pits, but Jason commits. He wants it here. Triscaro wants it. Neither driver are going to give, and eventually they're going to make contact on that apron. Triscaro gets up. That'll probably be a penalty and almost spins him out and then gets contact with Kevin Freeze. It's going to be interesting to hear from one of those guys when it's all said and done. But up front, here you go. Daniel Everhart, Dylan Jones behind him, Andrew Navarro third, Garrett Maines back in fourth, Matthew Baker in fifth, Jeff Merck sixth, and then everybody else trying to catch John Ward and Cody Nagels. Those two getting ready to get linked up with McCall Motorsports and Company, and I think they'll be able to track them down, but it's going to be close. Right now, they're 2.8 seconds back. If they can all form up to one big pack again shortly, I think they'll have a chance, but man, a lot of fast guys running really tight up front. Well, maybe not. Now they're going to get back to racing as they go into one.
Yeah, for a second, here comes Baker and Merck. It's just those two cars. It's going to be awfully tough for them to make anything happen. So far, making some hay up on that outside line. Everhart sees it. He blocks. Does Baker go a lane higher? Oh, that shuffles him up big time. Garrett Maines thought about getting up as well. He has to get out of the throttle. Now it's going to be 3v3 again. Everhart back to the bottom. Baker, Merck, and Maines have to refocus. Try to reestablish their run now. What a great move by Everhart to block that run.
And here we go. This will be coming to the white flag in the stage. So everybody fighting for those bonus stage points. Maybe have to work just a little bit less hard here for the next 40 laps. But right now it's still Daniel Everhart in front, and he looks comfortable behind the wheel of that 90 Ford Mustang. Threw a block on Baker. Not able to do it this time. Baker draws dead even with the 90 as they work off a 2. Can Jeff Merck and Garrett Maines push to 5 clear down the Daytona super stretch?
Oh, they're making some serious hay. Everhart not able to block that one. He wanted to try his best. He's not able to. Baker to the lead. Jones peeking out. You think he might be a little bit hot. Baker's going to be able to get down, and now all of a sudden, Jeff Merck may have a look at this stage off of 4.
3 versus 3, make it 2 versus 4. Navarro's going to jump back to the bottom. Navarro loses all help. Now Navarro's going to go back to the top. This could be a drag race all the way to the line. Baker with the better push. He will get it as Navarro splits out. Matthew Baker wins stage 1 at Daytona. Looked like it was Daniel Everhart, I believe, that came in second. Jeff Merck in third.
I think the biggest part of this would be that Navarro doesn't get any stage points, but at the same time, he had such a buffer. I don't think he's really going to mind that. You saw him with a last-ditch effort, but, man, for a guy like Jeff Merck, what a huge stage effort that is.
And as we take a look, coming to the stage, you know what? We didn't see that first stage, Dawson? A caution. It was aggressive racing, but it was very clean racing. That was fun to watch, and there you go. Eberhard, once Baker got there, he stayed well committed, and that's just solid pushing all the way around the track. I mean, he's got him squared up in the trial, but they are moving. Jeff Merck, nothing he could do. Mains falls off his bumper as Navarro went 3 wide up top. And so still a good second-place finish for Eberhard, actually, looks like, and then Merck, of course, coming in third. So I mixed those two up just a little bit. Dylan Jones back in fourth, and Garrett Mains in fifth. So as they come back down, the pit strategy doesn't look like it worked out for McCall Motorsports, but again, that stage break, kind of a saving grace. They'll take notes. They know what they want to try different for that next stop, and I think maybe the rest of the field is now going to say, maybe we should do a later pit stop than an earlier one. We'll find out when we come back from our first side-by-side break of the night. Matthew Baker, your stage winner here at Daytona. Stick with us. Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the trial.
Oh, he gets over into the lead on the record.
3x3 entering 4.
3-2. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Mains winning it at Talladega. Back live at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway for Race 2. Elimination race in the round of 16 for Tuesday night. Thunder up front. Matthew Baker got the stage win, still out in front after the pit stops. Looks like he is not in a Discord channel in the RMR Discord, so unfortunately won't be able to get a word with your stage winner, but a couple things to talk about here as we get ready to gear up for the one-to-go signal. First thing is what the payouts are looking like for tonight. They've changed up just a little bit from what we saw for most of the regular season. It is still top 4, but now stage winner, which in this case was Matthew Baker, getting $25 on top of that. First place going home with $125, second, third, and fourth all going home with $100 as well. And the big thing about this series for anybody that maybe is just tuning in here for the first time is the weekly payouts maybe not as big as what we see in some series for this entry fee, but man, Dawson, it's that end of the season, well, regular season championship, and then of course that championship race where we see all sorts of money given away. And I mean, I'll tell you what, if I was in here, that's what I'm looking forward to, and that is what I'm setting my sights on. And it's going to start here with tonight with making sure that you advance to the round of 8 if you want a chance.
Well, yeah, these guys are definitely working towards that race. I mean, that's ultimately what that big fee at the beginning of the season was for. It's what the expectation was if you're a driver that's paying into this series, is that you were going to get to that championship race and be able to race for those payouts, which are going to be very good. And that's why you see them racing the way they are. It's why you see the importance on this postseason format. So for these guys tonight, and looking at the points, it's awfully tight down there around the cut line. Let me tell you, even after the stage, based on the points that were given out, it doesn't really change things right around the cut line. Not anybody really down right by that cut got any points. So that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 position is really up in the air so far. Still single digits most of the way down.
Man, I'm telling you, though, I can just see it coming. Daniel Eberhard, he is waiting to play spoiler. The question is going to be, how does he do it? I mean, right now you see him, he's going to start third on the outside. But if he gets to win, not only would that put him in, that's going to put somebody that maybe was expected to be in all of a sudden out with that wild card victory. So it's going to be Maines and Baker lining up in row 1 just behind them. A couple of good pusher with Nagels and Merck. And then row 3, of course, Brock Westmoreland and then Daniel Eberhard. And here we go. Stage number 2. It's going to be 36 laps to go at Daytona. Green flag is back in the air.
Oh, a disorganized start all around right there. Neither line really got going at all. This is all over the place in terms of how far apart the field has gotten. Navarro's able to get up. Chris McCullough is able to get up as well. And all of a sudden, there's only 3 cars left on the bottom lane, and that's our front 2, Maines and Merck, and then Brock Westmoreland, and behind them, man, nothing to be spoken of. All of a sudden, the entire field's on the top on the super stretch.
As they roll on to the Daytona super stretch, it's Garrett Maines still leading the bottom, but with everyone lining up on the top, that is not going to last for very long. Matthew Baker trying to get clear, not quite able to do it. That third car, Brock Westmoreland, just enough aid for that bottom line to still stick tight to the top. Matthew Baker, though, going to get a big push from Cody Nagels. They'll make another surge, and with everyone jumping up top, you got to wonder, is it go time? I wouldn't think so. We still got a pit stop left, but that's exactly what McCall Motorsports thinks. They're going to get all 3 of their guys to go up top. Christopher McCall, Ken, David Sheets looking for Mark Von Dell, not up here right now. Navarro with a big move to the bottom, but already back to 3 wide just a couple laps in.
And guess who's leading the charge? Daniel Eberhard in the 90. How many times have we heard his name already? Get used to it. The 90 up on the outside, up against the safer barrier, trying to come forward, trying to get to the lead. Pokes the nose out front just for a moment. I don't think he's going to get clear of Cody Nagels, just not quite. Baker all the way down to the bottom. Now Nagels has help in the middle from Dylan Jones, and Logan York has poked his nose through in 3.
And Matthew Baker, man, looking for another win. He's already got a couple this season, but Garrett Maines not going to stay content with second anymore. He jumps up to the middle in front of Cody Nagels. This is where you start to get a little sketchy. All 3 lanes really starting to tighten and down, and boy, the tribal is where it gets just about the tightest point on this entire racetrack. Up top, Daniel Eberhard, Christopher McCall continue to roll. Ken McCall Jr. trying to get there, needs a little bit of help from David Sheets right now. The bottom breaks up a little bit. All the side draft and has worked. Jeff Merck, Brock Westmoreland have fallen off Matthew Baker, and now it becomes a question of which lane rolls better, the middle or the top. Neither one able to get clear of the bottom, and they will stay 3 wide into turn 3.
Yeah, stalemate here at the front of the field. No line able to really get moving all that much. Now the bottom surges one more time. The middle does as well. And the top's run begins to fade. Eberhard, Chris McCullough going backwards. Now they're back to the 3rd row. Does anybody up here thinking about going 3 wide? Nagels has an opportunity now, but he just chooses to stay right on the back bumper of Garrett Maines. Smart position right now for some of these front runners to be in. Eberhard, though, he has to race like this. He basically has no choice. He's got to go up to the front. You know he has to basically win the race at this point. So no surprise to see him racing like this, but unfortunately the run starts to fade as they hit the super stretch.
And as we talked about, that one saving grace that right now, I mean, you look at it as you either can go up there and race or you, I heard trouble. Yeah, we got one around here on the backstretch. I think that was Dylan Jones. First caution of the night, and it is the 11 of Dylan Jones. I heard a pop. Couldn't tell if someone hit the wall or if somebody's motor expired. But that'll bring the first caution of the night as they wreck about halfway down the Daytona Super Stretch, 28 laps in. Let's go take a look because I just have no idea on this one. Again, it was just as they crossed by camera view. So here we go. We'll go to the chopper view. Watch Dylan Jones in the middle. Logan York on his outside. Brock Westmoreland on his inside, and he blows up. It's exactly what happens there unless he had some sort of other technical difficulty. But no, you're going to see the puff of smoke. Watch it in slow. Fire out of the pipes. He's trying to get out of it. But there it is. You see the smoke cloud. Kaboom goes the 11. And then if you're Andrew Navarro, you're in the middle of 3 wide. Just absolutely nowhere to go. Piles right into Dylan Jones. John Ward dives low to miss it, as does Michael Triscaro. But then you see the 54, the 55, Mike Davenport, and George Bark just with nowhere to go. Tony Cox, I think, maybe makes a little bit of contact there as well. And then up front, does everybody else check up the misses? Yeah, they do. And so that's a rare mistake from one of the veterans, Dawson. But yeah, Dylan Jones he blew up, maybe just had gotten into the red, thought he could go a little bit longer. You saw him back out of it, but unfortunately just couldn't cool it in time.
Yep, there's a puff of smoke, and that's the telltale indicator that he expired the engine. And man, for the guys behind him, it's just an unfortunate situation for Navarro and others there because there's just not much you can do. Dylan Jones was in about the worst spot you can be in to blow your engine. In the middle line, you have no way out. You just have to hold the car straight and hope everybody can get around you. And unfortunately for Andrew Navarro, it's just not an option for him. He has to just run into the back of Dylan Jones, and big damage on both of those playoff cars.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dawson, we're taking a look here from the cockpit view. I don't think he's so much, well, I mean, obviously he blows the engine, but it's not from the cause we initially thought. Doesn't appear it's from pushing here. Take a look at his RPMs. We'll play this in speed for you, then in slow motion. Take a listen. I think he downshifts here on accident down the backstretch. You see the RPMs consistently at 8. Watch him jump. All of a sudden, boom, straight to 9. And that's usually a good indication of a downshift. The engine goes to max RPMs, and it just can't hold that for very long at all. And that's why we see it expire pretty quick. And, I mean, I had this issue just the other night, Dawson. I was in a race, and my chair knocked my shifter into neutral. It didn't quite do what happened to Dylan Jones right there, but it still did ultimately rev that engine really high and cause a big slowing of speed. But in this case, for Dylan Jones, that's a really tough break. He was having a good run up to that point, and he's going to have to use that one fast pair that he had in his pocket.
Well, absolutely, and it's not a setback he needed. He's a guy that did get some points there at the end of the stage, but still is not exactly in that really feeling good territory that Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines are in right now. 18, 20 points above the cut line. He was only 14 by my math above the cut line going into that incident. So not a setback he needed, especially not with some of the guys below him in points, notably Eberhardt and Jeff Merck running up here close to the front. So Dylan Jones, he's got his work cut out for him the rest of the night.
Certainly does, and with already 30 laps complete, you wonder if he's got enough time. Still going to be expecting a green flag pit stop, but I believe now it should be, boy, it's going to be close, but this might be right at one green flag pit stop, and these guys wouldn't have to touch another one if they run it all the way dry. But either way, it looks like it's going to be Garrett Maines lining up as your leader, Matthew Baker second, Jeff Merck in third with Cody Nagels fourth, Daniel Eberhardt in fifth. Logan York's been having a solid night inside the top 10 just about any time that we've seen or talked about him. And now looking to break into the top 5. He's up 8 in total from where he started. Josh Gambrone as well talked about first start, and so far so good. He looked clean on the green flag stop. He's looked smooth in the pack, and he's looking good right now inside the top 10. John Ward back in 8th, up 9 from where he started. Kevin Freese in 9th, and there's David Sheets rounding out your top 10. Looks like we're just going to have one man top off, and that is going to be Jared Mogard in the 00. Remember, Mogard started the season hot. Been on a little bit of a cold streak since then. A couple good finishes to mix it in. That's how he got here. The only thing is that I think is maybe a little bit of a problem here for him is that he doesn't have any teammates. And, man, that can really hinder you throughout the season. But Logan York in chat says, we just wrecked 3 times under caution. And so now I'm intrigued. What in the world happened? Let's go see if we can break this one down a little bit. See if we can go to the front. Actually, let's go right over here to Logan York. Maybe he had a good view of all this. Speed things up a little bit after we go to the spotter view. So here we go. Caution's out at this point, and it might have been a couple laps here. Let's see. As they go around, everything's fine here. The pace car is going to pull out the next time. I did see a couple data bars popping up showing that there may have been some trouble under caution, but I thought it may have just been everybody slowing down a little bit here. So as they catch pace car, looks like Brock Westmoreland checking up. No harm, no foul there. Uh-oh. And there it is. And that's going to start with a checkup. It looks like Logan York does indeed run into the back of Brock Westmoreland. Watch this here from a different angle, TV1. Just a big checkup, and yeah, Logan York gets into the back of Brock, sends him to the outside. Christopher McCall, nowhere to go. And David Sheets, everybody else is going to miss this one from there. But man, you know that they're not going to be too pleased about that one. I don't think Logan, again, it looked like a checkup by Brock, but maybe Logan trying to check the black box. I'm not even sure there, but nonetheless, that is what is going to cause a little extra contact, a little bit of heated tempers potentially by the end of this race. And here you go, Christopher McCall. He's going to come back up all the way up here. He'll get tucked back in line as they go to the pits. And it seems like everything is relatively clean, all things considered from there. So we'll go back up front as we get ready for the green flag. Here we go, back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air, 30 laps to go at Daytona.
Pretty even start, both lanes, 2 each. Get a pretty good restart. They're waiting on their help now. Eberhard on the bottom, York on the top, trying to get to their respective lines and get them to move. Bottom will surge first. Matthew Baker out front here in 1 and 2. Top line will have the surge off onto the super stretch once they get their help. Now Logan York is in line, third in line. How big will Garrett Maines' run be down the super stretch? Here we go. Here comes the one back to him. And we got guys going up. Oh, man, Matthew Baker, that's a really good block, but I don't know if I'd make it this early. He shows his hand to Garrett Maines, but he maintains the lead into 3.
Well, we know how much experience Baker has, and I think he feels like it's go time, or at least time to control these lanes, exactly what he's doing. How about Jeff Merck, though, trying to lead a couple more laps here on the night? Mark Vondell further back, already 3 wide. Nobody else daring to take it 3 wide just yet. Boy, it looked like Logan York took a peek right there. Looked like the 49 thought about going with them, but quickly thinks better of it. They quickly jump back down in line. So far here tonight, Dylan Jones, after that caution, being scored a lap down, but he's back with the lead pack, hoping for another caution, as is George Bark. He is no longer with the lead pack, but up front, still side by side. Can we get a third lane rolling? Christopher McCall trying to do it. Can he get any help as they go down the Daytona super stretch?
David Sheets goes up there, Andrew Navarro goes up there, but they're not at all connected, so they're going to have to all drop back in line. Nothing doing so far. Baker back to the lead in 3. He's got Garrett Maines flanking him to his outside. Kevin Freese has rejoined the party, as has John Ward here in 7th, 4th on the bottom. Baker not able to get up. Now Maines is going to surge back to the lead with a big push from Cody Nagels at the line. Maines easily clear of the 5 of Matthew Baker. The top line, a huge surge. They're still rolling here into the entry in turn number 1. Cody Nagels may get a chance to turn left, and he does. Cody Nagels wastes no time to the bottom, and there he goes for the lead.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dawson. Man, that made me hold my breath for a second. That was he looked like he was darting left as if he got wrecked, but that's just the kind of aggressive moves that Cody Nagels can make happen at super speedways. Now you're seeing some breakups in the field here. We saw it in. We say it all the time, Dawson, when you start to get gaps, that's where you start to get runs. And when you start to get runs, that's where you start seeing passing. And here we go. Logan York got a run with the 49. Both of those guys, no teammates tonight. Josh Gambrone, first race, but he is trying to make some friends and trying to make something happen. 3 wide up top. The 0-2 looking to get to the lead. The 49 trying to push. Navarro likes what he sees. He'll jump to the top as they cross the start-finish line.
Well, all this does is kind of hinder the middle lane. Garrett Maines, Kevin Freese, Daniel Eberhard all going backwards a little ways. Now they start to surge one more time. Here comes Garrett Maines. Nagel sees it. He goes right up in front onto the front bumper of the 1. Now all of a sudden back further. Ooh, Tony Cox has a moment. He's onto the apron. Is he able to get it going? Yes, he's able to keep it going straight. Nagels and Baker now race for the lead down the super stretch and off into 3. Michael Trescaro, Jason Maines start to peek forward back towards the front in 3.
Jason Maines jumping to the bottom. He saw that there's a gap to make up some spaces. That's what he's going to do. And yeah, as you noted, that was a heck of a save by Tony Cox. Looks like he may have just got a little unsettled in the rear end there coming off of turn 2, but he was able to hang on, stay in the pack, and they're going to regroup behind him. That group will start to get a run, but right now just nobody on the bottom. Merck and Ward all by themselves. And a little surprising tonight to see so many guys not only on the top, but to see the top working so well again, Dawson. Only a 73-degree track temp, and from what we saw, at least with the old Xfinity package, the top did not work well with a cool track temp. Maybe the new damage model has changed that as wow. Big moment as Baker has to catch it off a 2 with Cody Nagels giving him a bump down the backstretch.
Yeah, Nagels had to bail out of line for a second just to save an incident from happening. He allows Jeff Merck to stay in the fight on the bottom. He's getting help now from John Ward. Jason Maines entered well. 3 wide. Top side. Here comes Garrett Maines with the help of Daniel Eberhard. Freeze trying to fill the gap. Contact between Merck and Baker off turn number 4. Somehow they keep it going. Here comes the 1 of Garrett Maines, and we're going to be 3 wide for the lead. Across the stripe, still Baker. Maines and Eberhard trying to make it work. Triscaro and York trying to join the party off into 1.
Ton of respect right there from Cody Nagels to a very talented driver and ex-teammate Matthew Baker. When Maines jumped up, Cody had plenty of time to jump up. He could have left Baker to dry. Instead, he decided to stay committed with him and ultimately sacrificed a chance to go for the lead, to stick with a guy that he knows rightfully should be where he is right now. Baker and Nagels in the middle. Maines and Everhart up top. Now Maines will get clear. That'll put Everhart with a chance to get back to the lead on the outside. Meanwhile, on the inside, Jeff Merck getting all he can handle from John Ward. Ward been pushing the longest of anybody right now on the bottom. You got to wonder when the 92 starts to run out of temps.
I think he's getting to that point, and right now, as you see the bottom line start to really fade here off turn number 4, Baker may get a chance in front of Merck here to turn left, the same way Cody Nagels did. Watch out for that move. Does he do it? Yes, he does. Baker to the bottom. Maines now hung in the middle, waiting on Cody Nagels. Will this allow Everhart to get clear? Not quite, but Michael Triscaro, he is pushing for everything he is worth up on the top side against the safer barrier. It'll be still 3 wide, but now you see that third line start to fade. The run is going away. Do they have anything left in the tank? For now, it's just Maines and Baker drag racing down the super stretch.
Josh Giambron in the 49 got into the outside wall off a 2, falls back, but he's okay, collects it. I just cannot get over the racing that we are seeing right now. It has been weeks since we have seen any series put on racing like this, but right now, Tuesday Night Thunder is delivering. Jeff Merck pushing. Here we go, back up top. Cody Nagels jumps in front of Daniel Everhart. Maines on the bottom. Now Merck going to go back to the middle on Matthew Baker. John Ward going to have to cycle up to the lead pusher. Jason Maines still stuck on the bottom, but stalemate or not, nobody has been able to lead more than probably about 2 laps at a time right now, Dawson. Just way too many runs, way too much momentum changes. But all of a sudden, the bottom has started to resurge. You see everybody back to it, back lined up, and now it's that third lane that's faded out a little bit.
Yeah, they are slicing, dicing, jumping in front of each other, jumping up the racetrack, jumping down the racetrack. It's just a lot of back and forth here at the front of the field, and you called it. It is outstanding here at the front of the field for the lead right now. You can tell the intensity has gone up. Now, there is still a pit stop to be made here at some point on this last run. We know that for sure. Now, we don't know when that is going to be, but for now, they're not racing like there's one. It's going to be very interesting to see when that happens. For now, everybody still continues to jockey. Look at this, still 3 by 3, 4 rows deep. Still, it feels like it's been that way since we went back green.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old Jimmy Crow days, Dash for Cash, and we saw 4 wide in the trucks at Talladega. But, man, everybody just looks so smooth and comfortable. Everhart, you see him peeking out there for a little bit of cool air, but he'll line right back up, and temps have not seemed like too much of a problem tonight either. We saw Dylan Jones expire the motor, but I think that was with a little bit of a driver assist here. Going to have a couple cars. They're going to be getting ready to be put a lap down right here, actually, as you see the first one. Going to be Mike Davenport in the 55. Not sure exactly what happened to him here. I thought he was back up in the lead pack. Not sure what sustained him this damage. And then George Bark in the 54 will be next up on deck. So the field going to work by these guys with no issue as Davenport jumps below the apron. But how about Merck out in front at Daytona? This could get hairy. All of a sudden some fishtailing. And it looks like the lapper's going to stay high. Hold your breath here, Dawson. They're going to try to have to go 4 wide.
Oh, can they hold on to it? Oh, some contact there between Triscaro. Oh, trouble here at the front. Contact between Merck and Freeze. They keep it going. How in the world did we keep that one straight?
Baker's expression says it all, man. He knows how close that was. He had to do everything in his power to check up to make sure that wasn't a wrecking. Got to be honest, Dawson, I'm really not a fan here at a track like Daytona of a lapper. In that case, staying high instead of going below the apron. I think what Mike Davenport did was the correct move, but I mean, he did hold his line technically. We survived it, but man, Merck's still out of shape. He almost wrecks again off of 4. Baker checks up again, but man, if these guys keep having these issues, eventually it's going to spark the big one. So far, so good. And just like that, they are back to 3 wide down the short chute into 1.
Dyson back and forth. Triscaro now the odd man out. He goes up to the safer barrier. He's going to need some help here into 1. He does not have it yet. He pushed Everhart all the way to the front. Everhart bailed right there into 1. Saw the run coming from the middle. Now jumps down in front of Kevin Freeze. Where did Kevin Freeze come from? All of a sudden, he is second on the bottom. Cody Nagels leads the middle. Chris McCullough is up here as well. How about the 94? How about the 06 of Sheets? A lot of guys have made their first appearance at the front right when they need to. And with 20 laps to go, finally a sense of calm after a scramble for about 3 or 4 laps.
Calm before the storm, and what we're getting ready for here, Dawson, is that final green flag pit stop. Again, maybe don't know the exact lap, but I'm going to call right around lap 15, maybe a lap sooner, a lap later, maybe a couple laps later. But as soon as I think you're in the window, it's going to be right at the point where that's the max fuel you can take for the final stop. So we'll see if these guys do indeed split it in half by going here in just about 3 to 5 laps from now. But now Daniel Eberhardt back to the front on the inside. Cody Nagels on the outside, and Christopher McCall. Good recovery after getting in a wreck under caution. The 94 back up here, and he's got a teammate with him. David Sheets from McCall Motorsports in the 06. Again, another driver that a little bit surprising that did not make the playoffs. You know he's got the speed, had consistency, but just not quite his season this year. Still out here racing for money, trying to help the teammates. And again, a good run going so far here tonight. Man, Christopher McCall got really offset. And yet again, another close call off of 4 as they now take 17 laps to go.
Cody Nagels trying to make up for last week's near miss of a win. He's trying to get the job done definitively tonight, and he is racing like it. He's back in front of Eberhardt. Now that leaves the McCullough cars up top, 1-2, trying to make something happen along with Logan York. Logan York, he's been having a good run tonight too, certainly in a good spot. If he wants to advance into the round of 8, he's certainly making a good push for it tonight. Here comes Chris McCullough. They are suddenly rolling here down the super stretch. Off into 3. For the first time tonight, the 94 will take a shot at the lead, as on the bottom it's still Nagels, Eberhardt, Freeze, and Garrett Maines. Yeah, and the only downside right now being up here for the lead is none of these guys are going to let you drop to the inside, and it's at that time where you got to start peeking for holes in that inside line to jump in, because that final pit stop is going to be coming up here again real soon, just about a couple laps as we take 16 to go. Looks like you still got 4 up here in the lead on the top, and then just behind them, you got about 4 more. It looks like Baker's going to jump down. We saw Cody get down. I think he'll stay there. Brock Westmoreland, Navarro, and Jones, I think they're getting ready to drop down even further back. And so now, can Ward, Logan York, Christopher McCall, and David Sheets find a gap to get down? If not, they're going to have to run a lap later or drop back until they can. But still side by side at the front, David Sheets pushing Christopher McCall, Daniel Eberhardt pushing Cody Nagels, and they will be coming to 15 laps to go this time, just as that window opens up. We'll see if we have anybody that takes it here this time by. Does not. Look, trouble. Around goes Josh Giambroni further back, and some more cars are involved as well. And throw that out the window because the caution flag is out with 15 to go.
Man, these guys have been doing so good for so long, and that's a tough break for the rookie in his first start. The 49 all tore up. It's probably going to be a fast pair if I had to guess. And then there you see Jared Mogard. Looks like he was in it along with John Ward. Mark Vondell maybe got some damage from this as well. Maybe at least went through the grass. If nothing else, 59 machine appears to be okay. So let's go back and take a look at it. Boy, Dawson, we were so close, but man, we got some phenomenal racing right there, so you can't even be too mad about it. But here you go, coming off of turn 4. Take a look at the spotter view. Now, Brock Westmoreland had a little damage. I don't think this is going to affect us here. I think what you're going to get is a little bit of a stack up on the outside. Let's take a look at full speed. Yeah, that's what it... Oh, yeah, it looks like maybe a little bit of a stack up. We'll probably go back and take a look from the chopper view. And so what I think here is it's going to be is the stack up initially causes Brock Westmoreland to swerve down just a little bit. Yeah, it does. At the same time, the 49 just ever so slightly coming off the yellow, and they make some contact there. And once Brock Westmoreland gets into the 49, gets him in a bad spot, that's going to turn the 49 up the track. John Ward just inches from being clear of it. He's going to get turned towards the inside wall. Hard hit for Josh Giambrone. And then further back, you saw the 54 of George Bark. He had nowhere to go either. And so that's going to be about a 4-car pileup when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it looked like it was a checkup that started up in the front of that line with Logan York, potentially John Ward. You talked about them trying to find a spot in the bottom line. Well, as York saw one and went to find it, unfortunately, it checked up the line behind him, and I think they just all started getting into each other because they did not anticipate the line slowing down that much, and that's all that happened right there is you're trying to find a spot in line. Unfortunately, right there, it causes a stack up and causes a caution that pretty much eliminates that green flag pit stop from even happening right here.
It's going to make the aggression level ramp up that much more, but all in all there, talked about the 49 who was involved, Josh Gambro, and he was having a great night, and that is going to cost him that one fast spare he has, but he does have it, so he's going to use it, and he should be good to go. Take a couple more views of this one. First one from the cockpit view. This is another one of those kind of blindside hits as a driver. You can't really prepare for it because you don't know it's coming, and man, I think he may have saved that if he doesn't get kind of a secondary clip, but just nowhere to go. We take one more look here from the spotter stand. And this could have been a whole lot worse if this was in the front of the pack. A lot of people did a good job missing this. And then you can watch John Ward as he slides down low. He's going to slide out of camera frame here, but he actually misses this. In the 92 for the most part. I'm not sure if he does hit the... No, he does make a little contact with the inside wall. But overall, the 92 certainly could have been a lot worse. It'll be a borderline fast pair for him. Same deal for Jared Mogard, but I think that the 54 The 49 are certainly going to have to use their one fast pairs that they have this race. So 14 laps to go. Going to be even less than that when we go back. Green up front. It's Cody Nagels, followed by Kevin Freese, Daniel Eberhardt, Garrett Maines, and Matthew Baker, all making up your top 5. We are going to take another quick side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over it into the lead on the wreck.
3 by 3 entering 4.
3 deep.
Blocked.
At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega.
Back live at Daytona into the restart zone comes Cody Nagels. It's 12 laps to go in the elimination race in the round of 16. Green flag is back in the air, and away through the gears we go. Kevin Freese does not get a good start. He's waiting on Garrett Maines in behind him, as well as Chris McCullough. Daniel Eberhardt, Matthew Baker quickly to the back of the 6. They will surge. Eberhardt will have a look at the top here. Will he take it onto the super stretch? No. Kevin Freese, Garrett Maines able to surge enough to keep the 90 at bay for now. Cody Nagels leads off of turn number 2. Jeff Merck trying to get up, and again, same problem we saw last caution. Only 3 cars remain on the bottom line on the backstretch.
Yeah, but if they stick there long enough, I think that line will be able to hold on. But you have got 2 really strong pushers on the outside. Kevin Freese and Garrett Maines, followed by Jeff Merck. Who is going to be the first man to take it 3 wide? Christopher McCall is certainly an option. Oh, wrecking big out of 4. Nagels back up the track. I think he got tagged, and this will be the big one. Freese is in it. Jason Maines is in it. Andrew Navarro spins down to the inside wall. Freese still getting tagged by Ken McCall Jr. Heavy damage to multiple of your front runners. And it'll quickly bring the caution right back out. Just as I was getting ready to say we were good to go on fuel, at least for the scheduled distance, maybe not overtime. Well, now we're going to be good for both. Here we go. What in the world happened here? Go back to the spotter view. There's Daniel Eberhardt. Is this going to be a little bit of a sour push? That's exactly what I think it's going to be. The 90, and now again, nothing wrong here, at least in my eyes, in the sense of these guys have been pushing this aggressive, if not even more, in the turns all night. It's been working. In fact, you look on the outside, Garrett Maines is doing the same thing to his teammate, Kevin Freese, but just an odd look. I mean, Dawson, from your view here, the first thing I want to break down is there a little bit of like net code between Freese and Nagels at the same time? I mean, I know Eberhardt maybe gets slightly offset, but it seemed awfully quick that it got Nagels turned around. It's an odd one for me. I mean, I think it's an offset push just slightly.
I'll tell you what, I did not think it was any kind of net code until I went and looked at the chopper camera. The chopper camera tells me, and it shows just the slightest, I mean the tiniest bit of net code between the 25 of Freeze and the 6 of Nagels. It gets Cody out of whack, and then as he tries to readjust, Eberhardt is pushing through him, and of course that doesn't work, and they get together, and obviously we end up piling up big here in the exit of 4. I think it's net code that leads to a sour push. But that's just what I saw in that one.
Yeah, I agree, but again, just kind of a perfect storm. Eberhardt pushing fine. They just, like I said, it was just ever so slight if they did get offset. And as Dawson noted, there may have been a slight net code right there as well. It turns Cody around, and if this is Talladega, I think Cody's able to actually wheel that thing out, get below the apron, keep going, but that flat apron transition is not friendly, and in this case, it costs him once he gets sent back up the track. The wreck's on from here. Take a look at a couple of these angles. First one here from the spotter view. And once he gets turned, Eberhardt gets up into Freeze and Maines. That's going to turn Freeze around. Maines with nowhere to go. He will T-bone the safer barrier. You see Merck slide up there as well. And now it's just going to be everybody trying to escape the chaos. Freeze is going to slide right back up into this. Matthew Baker, I think the first man to pull through it. Jason Maines, he's going to have nowhere to go. Brock Westerlund further back. You see Mark Von Dell. Looks like he gets involved. I mean, this one was definitely the biggest one we've seen here tonight. Is it probably caught a lot of people off guard. Certainly didn't expect that in the area where it happened or when it happened or even where it happened at. Just a tough wreck, but this one's going to be a couple more fast pairs and potentially could eliminate our first driver here of the night.
Yeah, potentially could. It's certainly one of the bigger ones that we've seen tonight. Now, inside of 10 to go, we got a lot of cars that I don't think have their fast repairs. A lot of races are going to be on the line right here late in the going of this one. And as the race gets later, that pushing is going to get even more intense. I mean, how many times have we said that? How many times have we seen it happen? And now on this restart, going to come with about 8 laps to go. You thought the last restart was a little bit crazy. You thought the racing before that was crazy. Just wait. It's going to get even more crazy on this one.
Boy, Christopher McCall took a pretty good lick in the outside wall right there as well. Kevin Freeze got bounced around like a pinball. That's going to be a fast pair guaranteed for the 25. I want to take 2 more looks at this one here. First one from the wall cam. Show you just kind of a sense of how quickly this all pans out. There goes Cody Nagels sliding right across the gopher cam, and then up the track they all go. Further back, I think Fondell, I was going to say, I didn't think he hit the wall, just goes across the grass, takes a little shortcut back to going straight and good to go. And the last view I want to take this is an onboard ride here with Matthew Baker. He was just behind Eberhardt when this happens. Not in a position you would expect him to escape it, but he does just that. Watch this. Nagels gets turned quickly on the brakes. Oh my goodness, he just missed. I don't even know how he got the car to turn that far down at that point in the racetrack, but wow, what a save from Baker. And that'll put him to the lead with under 10 laps to go. And in fact, as we go back up front with the 1 to go signal, it will indeed be Matthew Baker, as we just noted, leading the way. Jeff Merck, he got a little damage from that wreck. I don't think it was too bad. I believe he may not have opted to fix it. So him staying out will put him second on the inside. Tony Cox up here on the outside in 4th. Logan York to his inside in 3rd. This is a big deal right here for Tony Cox, Dawson. This could be his first chance of the season to get in the money. He's taking a little bit of a gamble. Now we're going to see what the 72 is worth. How comfortable does he feel pushing the 5 of Matthew Baker? But tell you what, if it's your first time having to really push up here, it's a good guy to have to do it on. Baker's going to be able to take a lot right here from the 72. Question is, which lane is going to roll better? Seems like it has been the outside for the last couple restarts.
Well, and the other question is going to be who gets antsy first. We got a lot of playoff guys up here inside the top 10 right now that need good runs. Jeff Merck, he's below the cut line right now by 12 points. He needs a good run tonight. Logan York could always afford one. He's on the inside of row number 2. Matthew Baker's in a pretty good spot, but then Michael Triscaro is on the cut line. He is the last driver in if the race ends right now. So guys like that, they need good runs. How antsy do they get here on a late restart? We're about to find out.
And a reminder that normally you might see a round of 12. Not for Tuesday Night Thunder. We go straight from the round of 16 to the round of 8. So 8 of those drivers highlighted in yellow this week will no longer be highlighted in yellow next week. And we are getting ready to find out the answer to that in the next 8 laps. Here we go. Pace car is going to pull off. Jeff Merck, Matthew Baker rolling back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. It's a good jump for Matthew Baker, but the inside going to line up a little bit more, a little bit quicker. No move yet as they work their way out of the tribal. Jeff Merck staying put. Matthew Baker, no move for him to have to block yet. The 72 of Tony Cox gets there, and now the push-in battle is on. Neither lane going to get the advantage into one. Further back, the 49 of Josh gets onto the apron just a little bit. He saves it. Watch for a third line to get going right around Cody Nagels as they race down the backstretch.
It's going to be dead even down the super stretch here. Third line starting to roll. Garrett Maines, Jason Maines, looks like Kenny McCullough as well. John Ward's going to jump out there. They're starting to try to make it work. That allows Eberhardt to get up to the middle. Watch out for D3. He will get an opportunity here. Merck up to the middle in front of Matthew Baker. That allows Logan York down in front of David Sheets now to inherit the lead. How about Logan York going to the front? Eberhardt middle to bottom. He is tearing through the field right now further back. 7 to go. York is cleared as he go up. Nope, stays put on the bottom. Third line starting to roll. Here comes John Ward. Everybody dicing for position behind the leaders.
York's been in this position before. We know he knows how to throw the right blocks, but he's got to be careful. One spun out back. It's going to be Dylan Jones. He'll slide back up the track. Looks like he's going to be the only one involved in this one, and I don't even think he hits anything, but it draws the caution nonetheless, and I don't know if some of these guys wanted to see that or didn't want to see that. All that really did was give these guys a couple free laps without being able to take off a couple laps where these guys can't make up any positions. Heck of a save, though, by Dylan Jones. So let's go back, take a brief look at this one, and they ended up 4 wide, Dawson. I'm assuming that's what you were getting ready to get going about because we just don't see that at Daytona often, but how does a 4 wide get sparked here? Looks like they had been like this for a little while here, all the way back to the tribal. I mean, my goodness. So here we go. All right, so here you go. Coming into the tribal, this is where this first starts. Watch Dylan Jones in the 11. He's behind Michael Triscaro. And what he's going to do here is he's going to try to drop maybe to the bottom. Kind of rides half and half. And then Vondell gets there. Vondell goes below the yellow. Feels like he's got the spot. And then now they're 4 wide, and now you're stuck. You can't really do much. And eventually you just run out of room there. Dylan Jones, I think, was even trying to back out and still didn't get cut enough of a break to be able to save it. So he gets tagged, ping pong down into Christopher McCall. And then once he spins back up here, Christopher McCall tags him a couple more times, spins up. But there you go, goes for a slide. And boy, it is not often that we see a car get turned where he did and not hit the inside wall, or hit the outside or inside wall. But again, heck of a save right there by Dylan Jones.
Absolutely good save, and that's just a product of not enough space on this kind of racetrack to run 4 wide, and so you rarely see it. And unfortunately for Dylan, right there, he gets hung up between the 2 lanes and ends up getting turned and all that. He, like you said, I think he was trying to back out of it, but unfortunately for him, just not really able to back out quick enough, and the hole closes up, and all of a sudden he's sliding sideways. Lucky for him, though, he did not hit anything. He'll still be in this one for sure.
Well, if there's no damage, then it's kind of a classic case of no harm, no foul, right? But like I said, the biggest implication on this is that it is going to probably tick off, 2, 3, probably 2 to 4 laps here under caution that the guys towards the back would have had to try to get to the front. If you're Logan York, I think you're loving this. Again, no teammates really around. But, man, this could be his first big win in some time here in one of the major series, that is. And, boy, what a time it would come at. Could advance him to the round of 8 automatically if he gets the win. He'll have David Sheets do either his outside or inside, depending which lane he chooses. And who does he want as a pusher? Jeff, Merck, or Andrew DeVaro? Merck's still looking to snap the dry streak. He's got a little bit of damage on the rear bumper. I was wondering how bad that would affect him. Didn't seem like it was too bad when Baker got behind. They were still able to push really hard without any trouble. And then further back, man, big names. Brock Westerlund, he got back to the pits there. Top it off on fuel. Maybe take some tires here for a couple overtimes if we need them. But it looks like it's going to be a natural green-white checkered, maybe +1. We'll have the answer to that when we come back. Going to take what is hopefully our final break of the night. We will go side by side again. Stick with us for the finish here at Daytona. front. Now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets over it in the lead under record.
3 by 3 entering 4.
3
He
do.
blocked.
At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. It will be a 3-lap shootout to decide it. Logan York doesn't need a win, but man, it would certainly add to it. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. The 02 on the inside, the 06 on the outside. Sheets and York both looking for their first win on the season. Oh, already with a little bit of a block. Couldn't tell if it was a push or a block, but man, that was a close call for Logan York. He saves it. And man, that was almost a really bad situation. Gone worse, but now that he's back to the bottom, they are starting to roll. Up top, David Sheets trying to recover, but it's going to be Jeff Merck who jumps out. Now Matthew Baker will have to square up Logan York down the backstretch.
Third line already working. Giambrone thought about it. Eberhard thinks about it. They're scrambling all kinds of different ways back out back. Daniel Eberhardt's the man to watch. He's now second in the outside lane. Third lane going to start to come forward. Michael Triscaro, he's got to make up a couple spots as well as he's tight in the points math. Up front, it is the 0-2 of Logan York out front. Jeff Merck's got something to say. He's going to get turned right in front of the whole field. Merck, Baker, Giambrone, others. This is a huge wreck out back.
Now, we thought the last one was the big one. This is the big one right here, and guess who was right in the middle of it? Jeff Merck. The streak is going to continue. Doesn't look like the 60 is all too bad from what I can see, and I hope that's the case for the Jeff Merck fans, but don't know if that's the case for the rest of the field. That one collected a lot of them, and man, I was just getting ready to say, Dawson, look at Josh Gambrone coming up here, looking for a chance to get in the money. And he is going to come up, unfortunately, it looks like potentially 3 laps short by getting caught up in that wreck. And remember, he already had to use his fast pair, so this might put his night to an end. Here we go. Let's see what happens here. Coming off of 4, and yeah, I don't like that view, so let's get something a little better here. Ooh, looks like he's going to get turned by David Sheets. That's the initial view. We'll go to the chopper. Again, we've seen a lot of pushing tonight, and this would be the second incident where maybe it's just a little bit of an offset push, but watch it slow here. From that view, Sheets is still pretty square on Merck. Gives him a bump. Man, I tell you what, Dawson, David Sheets, to me, he really did look pretty squared up. I see that he gets just a slight bit offset, but it is not much at all, especially, again, for what we've seen here tonight. And it just turns Merck right around. I mean, Merck never even has a chance to catch that car. It goes right around on him. And then when he does, he clips Matthew Baker, who just could not escape, nowhere to go. And then now it's on David Sheets, nowhere to go. Wow, Christopher McCall somehow sneaks through it, but there's the carnage as it all comes to a halt just about at the entrance to the pits. You got to wonder, Dawson, do you think that Merck's damage maybe cost that a little bit?
It's possible. You know, I don't think it was a huge factor. You can see on the chopper, he is the slightest bit offset to the left. And I will say, I have driven these cars a considerable amount of times since the update. And man, even the slightest, just the few inches offset to the left can kind of result in that bumper hook. It's getting a lot more sensitive since the update. And I think that's what happens right there. It's nothing malicious at all by David Sheets. He's, for the most part, square. That's something that worked a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, with the new update, it's just even more sensitive. You have to almost be off to the right to be able to push in these cars now. And for right there for Jeff Merck and David Sheets, doesn't work out, and they pile up big.
Here we go. Taking onboard ride with Christopher McCall. How does he miss this one? On the outside third lane, that's where the entire wreck happens. Goes to the middle and Again, it happens sometimes. Sometimes it's luck, but that's what you need at these super speedways. The seats part for him. He comes at us in a pretty good spot. Looks like being scored right now 5th. You saw Garrett Maines drop to the apron right there to make sure he didn't have to get involved in this one either. So we'll take a couple more looks. How about one from the TV static cam as they rocket off of 4? And got a couple varying opinions besides ours here in the chat about what caused that wreck. Logan thinks it was some of the damage. Matt Lee thinks it was a bad push. And so nonetheless, it ends in the big one. And now this will send us officially to our first overtime. And just as things were getting good, I think, again, Dawson, maybe that actually benefits Logan York again. When you don't have teammates, I always feel like the less laps that you have to race, the better your chance, at least it is, if you're in the front. So I think this will pay dividends, at least this time, for Logan York. But a couple guys that snuck through this one, I don't know how they did, but Matthew Baker all torn up after a top 5 night. All night. And so it's going to be a tough break for him. We'll see if he can get back up here. There's one more look at it from TV1. Sheets almost was able to sneak to the outside after the initial contact, but just not the case. There's D3 getting some contact, and that's going to send him ultimately up to the top before he spins back down. Boy, debris flying everywhere. That was a mess. So we go back live, though, up front. 1 to go signal has been given. Logan York, this time he takes the top. And man, Dawson, we kind of talked about it last time. You know, we thought he would take the top with Navarro. This time he takes the top with Nagels. Those are 2 phenomenal pushers, either lane that you take. But man, giving Garrett the inside, we know Garrett knows how to side draft. He knows how to work stuff. We'll see if he can hold Logan from being able to jump down. However, if Logan gets clear to get down, he might be in the catbird seat with 2 laps to go. So Logan up top, Garrett on the bottom, Ward and Nagels in row 2, Christopher McCall and Dylan Jones back up here after falling a lap down earlier. They're making up row 3, and then how about D3? Still up here in the top 4 rows. It's going to be him. And looks like to his outside, Jared Mogard as well, who we've saw in a couple incidents tonight. It's going to be a fun final restart.
Well, it definitely is. I think if you're Logan York, I think this was your only decision. I understand you don't want to give Garrett Maines an opportunity to work that bottom line, but at the same time, you also got to consider the alternative, and that is if Logan York had taken the bottom, you link up Garrett Maines and Cody Nagels, and we have seen before, that is a pretty unstoppable duo if you let them get hooked up. So with them separate now, Logan York is able to control a little bit more on this restart, I think, than if he had chosen the bottom in front of John Ward. We'll see how it goes for him. But man, some wild card drivers up here in the front. Jared Mogard as well as Daniel Eberhardt could win this race and seriously throw the playoffs for a loop. Same with Kenny McCullough. He is out as of right now as well. 3, make it 4. Jeff Merck is up here still as well. 4 wildcard drivers just outside the top 10. You know they're going to be itching for a win right here. They could really shake some things up and play spoiler.
Best part of the broadcast, every race, the last 2 laps, the most exciting 2 of them all. And here we go. York again on the outside, Maines on the inside. Can he hold on for his first win, or can Garrett play spoiler yet again? Back into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Overtime number 1 is underway at Daytona. Logan York, Garrett Maines already with a little contact, but it's going to be York better through the gears now. Garrett already back to side drafted. Who gets the lead push first as they work down into turn 1?
It's going to be Maines, and it's going to be because Dylan Jones cannot get to the back bumper of Nagels. Eberhard up in front of the 11. Now he looks, and Mogard looks actually a lane higher. Jared Mogard trying to go 3 wide already. Jeff Merck, Mike Davenport coming to him. What can the 0-0 do? Down the super stretch. Maines goes out into the middle. No trouble behind him. Brock Westmoreland and a couple others around. We stay green here at the front of the field. I think it's going to continue to stay green too as we head to 3.
Oh, and it was off track, but I think it met the car requirement to put us under yellow. So yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to rack these guys up and try it again. Couldn't tell exactly what started that, but yeah, we saw Brock Westmoreland, the first car that went spinning. So we'll actually back this up and take a look, and things starting to get a little bit messy right here at the end. So let's back this up, exactly where this starts. And again, as Dawson, you noted, I think it may have stayed. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe this was an admin thrown caution. Not 100% sure on that, but here we go. Watch from the chopper view as they come off of turn number 2. And you got guys that are having to race extra hard because of the cut line. So here we go. Looks like he just kind of run out of room right there. Ken McCall Jr. in the middle. Jared Mogard up top. And then Brock Westmoreland on the bottom. And at this point here, I think, looks like Ken is sticking to his line. Actually, he does come up a little bit there. You might be able to argue that Jared Mogard could maybe run a little bit higher, but it does look to me like the 03 of Ken does creep up the track here just a bit. And so they make some contact. That sends Ken down into the 4 of Brock Westmoreland, which sends him up the track. They're going to get back into Jared Mogar before they spin down. Boy, gets T-boned by Mike Davenport. Just nowhere to go. And then talk about, looks like we actually had about 4 or 5 total spinning down here. Take another look at this here from TV3. Yeah, Jason Maines was able to keep it straight. There's Davenport sliding. And was Michael Triscaro. Yeah, he drives out of it. But I believe the 54 of George Bark. No, that was Andrew Navarro that was actually. And for some reason, I thought it was 54. Watch Navarro. He's going to take a pretty big hit off the inside wall as he tries to miss Ken. And actually, he takes the hit off of Ken, and then Ken takes the hit off the inside wall. So that'll be a fast spare for the 44 if he's got one. Ken McCall Jr. most likely as well. I think maybe Brock Westmoreland's okay, along with a couple others that were able to roll away from this one. But just hard racing, Dawson. Talked about it right before we started looking at the crash. That's a product of what you get when these cut lines and guys going for it at the end, towards the back. They have to get that 3-wide going if they want to get to the front. And in this case, it doesn't pan out for any of them.
No, it doesn't, and unfortunately right there, just an incident again of running out of space, and unfortunately it causes an incident. I thought for the split second we were going to keep it green to make it to the white, but the caution does come back out, and I'll tell you what, that is a saving grace caution for Michael Triscaro. He was a lap down after the last incident. He gets the lucky dog here. He's going to have a crack at this on the last restart, and for a guy that was right on the points cut line going into this last restart, he needed to have an opportunity, and he's going to get one right here.
Certainly is, and I'll tell you what, didn't think we were going to have to, but now a couple restarts later, we are indeed going to take one more break so I can set up just a couple more things for this final, hopefully final overtime. I think we have one more if we need it, but it is Garrett Maines leading at Daytona, Logan York in second. He's also looking to take another crack at it. John Ward third, Cody Nagels fourth, and Christopher McCall fifth. Stick with us to find out the winner here at Daytona when we come back.
Front, now we're going to see a little 4-wide action. Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets into the lead under record.
3x3 entering 4.
3 dude. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega.
Back live at Daytona, green-white checkered attempt number 2 about to go green. Garrett Maines, Logan York, Cody Nagels, John Ward ready to get their line up and moving. Here we go into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 2 more laps around. We're making the white flag. This race is official. Both lines get rolling pretty good. Top line's going to have the help first in the form of Cody Nagels. Watch out for Daniel Eberhard as well. Dylan Jones, Jared Mogard to look out for the 0-0 as well. He's not out of this one either. The car to watch right here is Michael Triscaro. Chris McCullough, he's in a spot to play spoiler right here and make it into the playoffs if he finishes in the 5th position. Off onto the super stretch. York pokes the nose out front. Here comes Garrett Maines back to the outside. Sean Ward gets kicked out of line. Now he's going to have to find a spot in line behind Chris McCullough. Has to try to bully his way back up. Mogard looks 3 wide. It's all Garrett Maines up front in 3.
And Logan York lost all his help. He will get cleared by 2, maybe 3 cars. Now Eberhard, watch for the move from the 90. He's going to have to drop low if he wants a shot at winning this. Right now, though, he still continues to stay committed high. Now it's Nagels who's going to drop low. Eberhard now coming up to the back bumper of Garrett Maines. They will make it. 1 lap to go at Daytona. Who is going to win it?
Cody Nagels, Garrett Maines continue to drag race. Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck look up to the top side, but with 2 cars, I don't think it's going to be enough. Nagels, huge push from Logan York on the bottom. The 6 now, clear of the 1 of Garrett Maines. Does he jump up to block? Daniel Eberhardt's the car to watch. He needs to win. He has no choice here, 18 points out. Nagels looks up. They start to wreck further back. Off into 3. Nagels, Dyson back and forth, trying to figure out the lane that's going to go. York with another push to the back. It's all Cody Nagels in 3.
Last gas through 3 and 4. Who's got it? Nagels by himself. York, you know he wants it. There's the next move. Cody going to throw another block. York not able to do anything. Looks higher now. Maines gets taken out. York and Nagels will drag race to the line. Another block. Eberhard up top. Cody Nagels wins it at Daytona. And we will see him in the round of 8. And he does it without a teammate. What a win for Cody Nagels. York brings home 3rd, but it's Daniel Eberhard stealing 2nd. I don't know if it'll be enough for the 90. Wow, what a chaotic stretch from 4 to the start-finish line. Let's go back. Take a look at this one. Boy, Logan York was giving it everything he had and maybe gave it just a little bit too much right there. Let's take a look at this one. So here you go. Christopher McCall on Logan York. York's going to jump up to try to make the move on Garrett Maines. Maines wants none of it, I don't think. Well, before he gets there, Cody actually goes up. So then York says, okay, I'll go a lane higher. Garrett sees that. Garrett's going to jump to the middle. So at this point, Logan he's gonna try to put another block on. No, he's so far so good. He holds it, and there you go. Then he comes back down. Maybe not sure if he knew Garrett had went to his inside or not, but that'll clean out the 1 and the 94. And then Eberhard gets a run, does not stick with the 0-2. Instead, goes high. York tries to block just too late. And at that point, even though Nagels may not have had help the right time, he had what he needed. He is going to get there. And how about Tony Cox finishes 4th? First time in the money for the driver of the 72. You love to see that.
Absolutely. What a finish. What a win, man. Daniel Eberhard just short. He saw the daylight open there at the last second. Unfortunately for him, it's not enough of a run, and he comes up just short in a race. But I'll tell you what, he looked like he was going to get the job done. For Cody Nagels, it's redemption. From a week ago, lost by a hair to Kevin Freese, literally by the closest margin I think I've ever seen. And this week, he leaves no doubt. He gets the job done. He'll be in the round of 8.
Let's take a look at your race results here for the Knights. Cody Nagels getting the win. Daniel Eberhard 2nd. Logan York finishes 3rd. Tony Cox in 4th. Mark Von Dell 5th. Matthew Baker in 6th with Dylan Jones 7th. Garrett Maines in 8th. Jared Mogard 9th. And Jeff Merck rounding out your top 10.
Michael Triscaro finishes in 11th. Jason Maines in the 12th position. Kenny McCullough finishes 13th. Brock Westmoreland in 14th. Andrew Navarro finishes 15th with John Ward in 16th. Kevin Freese finishes 17th. Chris McCullough in 18th. Mike Davenport finishes 19th. Josh Shimbroni finishes in 20th. David Sheets finishes 21st. And George Bark rounds out the field of 22.
All right, we are going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. We will be right back. Stick with us at Daytona. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. We're going to start first with your winner tonight as we will await, hopefully, interviews from second and third as well, and that is Cody Nagels in the 6th. Cody, this is awesome up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what. You get the win, but even sweeter than that, you do it without any teammates tonight. Did you have something to prove, or is that just the raw talent that you've got at these kind of tracks?
I figure I just let the super speedway knowledge that I've accumulated through running, all these races just kind of take over. I mean, nothing too crazy. Had a little bit of bad luck with getting, felt like I got net coded, but either way, I mean, I guess I just used a little bit of the knowledge to my advantage and tried to make a few friends when I was out there. And then, if I have a chance to win the race, I'm going to go for it. And the opportunity presented itself, and I was able to take a run and hold everyone off in the tri-oval.
Well, we know that we're going to see you in the round of 8, but, man, coming off of 4, things got exciting. Tell us about that little battle of the blocks that you were able to throw to hold off Logan York and what the goal is going to be here in the round of 8 in order to advance, of course, to that championship finale.
Got to stay aggressive, first and foremost. Staying up front, track position's key. And honestly, I knew he was going to go up on me, so I anticipated it and was able to throw a clean block on him. And then from there, it was just watching where the run was. And whoever got the closest to me, I was going to block him. And I believe it was Daniel. Daniel was getting a run on me, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I was just able to take that one last little bump and get to the start-finish line for the dub.
Certainly were. Well, good run tonight. Before we let you head out, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on a good broadcast. I want to thank Ron for putting on a league, and I want to thank myself because everything I do is for me, and that's why I'm here.
All right, and there you go. So Cody Nagels, your winner tonight at Daytona. We will see him here in a couple weeks fighting for a chance to advance to the Final Four. Thanks again for talking to us, Cody, and congrats on that win.
Yes, sir. Dale Cup. Get smoked.
All right, there you go. You can tell he's as confident as ever. And so now that'll bring us up to your 3rd place finisher here tonight. Daniel Eberhard, unfortunately, will not be able to do an interview. He is not feeling well, but we congratulate him on his finish. And so that brings us to Logan York, the man on the podium. Dawson Wise stands with him.
Yeah, I do. Hey, Logan York, it's the boys in the booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dawson.
Well, you come home 3rd tonight. An excellent run for you. A run we saw you run a lot at the front. It was a lot of aggression out of you. First off, you come home 3rd. Is there anything you could have done differently there on that last run? Or, did you kind of throw all your punches at him in turns 3 and 4?
Yeah, great question, Dawson. I could have been a little bit more aggressive at the end. I could have gone low on him after he blocked me high, tried to get a run on him there, but the thing hindering me there was the fact that it's a tight point situation. I know if I finish right there behind him in 3rd, I'm at least going to accumulate a lot of points and make the round of 8. So I was more focusing on that round of 8 instead of trying to win that race.
Well, certainly a smart strategy out of you tonight. And now we move forward to the round of 8. You're in the round of 8. What a season it's been for you. What a playoff run now that it has been for you to this point. So what's the game plan here? You're in the final 8 of the season. What's the plan to try to make the championship race?
Just got to kind of go with the flow. Not many teammates out there. I had Josh Jambroni and George Bark out there today. They're my teammates now, so it's cool to start learning how to work with them now. But they don't really run often, but for those races that I'm by myself, I'm just going to have to hit with the good pitters and just try to keep my nose clean and make my way up to the front. A lot of bad luck usually, so just got to cross my fingers on the last lap.
All right, well, a 3rd place effort for you tonight, certainly good enough to get into the round of 8, and it's a fantastic effort for you here going forward. So while we've got you up here for a second, anybody like to thank or shout out?
I'd like to shout out Garrett Maines because I really felt bad about that coming out of 4. I was trying to hang that middle line as tight as I could, and I feel like I maybe got a little loose coming out of the corner and it sent down into him. So, I wanted to apologize to him. I want him to hear it on broadcast. I'm sorry, Garrett. But other than that, thanks for everyone being pretty clean that race, especially the first half. Thank you guys for broadcasting. That's pretty much it.
All right, well, we appreciate you talking to us. Congrats on a 3rd place effort. Go enjoy it. We will see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and that is going to wrap up our coverage tonight for the second race in the round of 16. 8 drivers going to be officially eliminated. We will have all that when we come back. I think we actually get a couple-week break here, Dawson, for the holidays, so we'll say for all you that only tune out for Tuesday Night Thunder, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We will see you after that, but overall tonight, Dawson, I love the racing that we got. I agree with Logan. The racing, especially the first half of the race, was phenomenal. Can't wait to see what we get in the round of 8.
Oh, absolutely. Me either. Tonight, certainly a step in the right direction. I mean, we had some of the best slicing and dicing racing that we have seen in a very long time here on Tuesday nights, and was glad to be a part of it. Glad to see where it goes. Glad to see some of the storylines in the round of 8. How about some of these guys that got in? How about the story for Logan York? You heard him right there. He seems pretty confident. Had a good run tonight. Arguably his best run of the season all around, and he's ready to go in the rest of the Championship 8 as well. We are set up for a great end of this season.
Certainly are. All right, that'll do it tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out. As always, I hope you enjoyed. That's it for Dawson and Austin here in the booth for Tuesday Night Thunder.